Okay, so I'm going to attempt question 3. I'm going to be switching between the test question and IntelliJ. So I'll be switching between these two screens. Question 3 is asking us to consider A to be an interface with constant K of value 1.5 and an abstract method MA that takes a text value and returns nothing. Consider B to be another interface with constant K of value 2.5 and an abstract method MB that takes a whole number and returns a double value. Interface B also has a default method MD that takes nothing, returns nothing, but prints the text "I am a student" on the screen. So basically question 3 is all about interfaces, and we are being tested on that concept. So let's go through part A, B, and C with code. So first, they want us to define interface A. So I'm going to switch to IntelliJ and create an interface called A. So public interface A, that's how you define an interface. And the question is saying interface A has a constant K of value 1.5. So 1.5, that is a double. Constant K, 1.5. Remember, in interfaces, for fields, everything is public. Not abstract, public, static, and final. Public, static, final. So basically, every field in an interface is public, static, and final. But Java can forgive you, not can forgive you. Java has made it that you can ignore these 3 keywords, because when you hover over them, you can see modifier public is redundant, and static is also redundant. So is final, because Java already knows that these 3 modifiers are already implied when you're defining interfaces, but this is for only the fields. Then it's saying interface A has an abstract method MA, and this abstract method takes a value and returns nothing. So the abstract method is called MA, and takes a text value and returns nothing. Text value, so it's a string. Let's call it value, and returns nothing. So the return type here is void. So this is how you declare abstract methods. So basically, just like it was for the fields, for the methods, they are also public and abstract. But Java already knows that if you're in an interface, the methods are public and abstract, so you can neglect these keywords. So you can just get rid of them like that, just to decrease on your code, make it cleaner. What else do we have? Another interface, consider, that is part A. We have defined part A. Imagine that for 5 marks, just doing this. So we define interface B. Consider B to be another interface with constant K of value 2.5. Okay, so let me just create another file, but it could be easier to maybe do it like this. Interface B. I think I should get rid of copilot, disable competitions. So interface B of constant K 2.5. So it's a double K of 2.5. So I'm doing it like this in the same file because I didn't want to keep jumping between two separate files. But in the exam, you can still do this. It will be this is because I'm in an IDE, and this kind of doesn't make sense. Yeah, the code won't compile. But when you're defining this in an exam, of course, this will be part A, and then we'll just write this. Then this will be part B, and you write this. So okay, let's make it sense to the IDE. In the exam, this is how you will do it. But for the sake of our code running, let's not abuse this. Let's move this to a different interface called B. Now we have interface A defined like that, and an interface B defined like that. So interface B has a constant K and an abstract method MB that takes a whole number and returns a double value. MB takes a whole number, so an int, and returns what? Takes a whole number and returns a double value. So you're taking a whole number, which will be an integer, because integers are whole numbers, and then we are returning a double. So our return type is a double. Then we terminate the abstract method. So that's interface B. Okay, so another fact about interface B is interface B also has a default method MD that takes nothing and returns nothing, but prints the text "I am a student" on the screen. Okay, so now here we are being tested on default methods in interfaces. So a default method is defined like this. So we have to use the keyword default. And then our method name is MD. And the return type for this MD is returns nothing. Yeah, returns nothing. So void, but prints the text "I am a student." Okay. So for default methods, you do not terminate them like this because default methods are not abstract. They are concrete methods. You have to define a body for them. So you see, once I include the curly braces, the error disappears. When they are saying this default method should print "I am a student." Yes. So that's our default method. This public by default, let's check. Yes, they are, but they are not abstract because default methods are concrete methods. So the abstract word does not apply. Just like it for this abstract method here, it did apply because this is an abstract method. But for default methods, we should not use the abstract keyword. And they are public by default. So you can also get rid of the public keyword. So that's question B. Part C. So when this MD method is called somewhere in the main method, it should print out this I am a student thing. So let's go to part C. Define a concrete class called C that provides implementation of interfaces A and B. So they want us to define concrete class called C. Now this concrete class is supposed to provide implementation of interfaces A and B. How do we do this? How do we provide this implementation? By using the keyword in Java called implements. So you're going to implement the interface A and the interface B. So once we do that, the compiler is complaining because since we're implementing interfaces, we must provide the overridden methods for these interfaces A and B. So the overridden methods are MA in A, in interface A, and MB in interface B. So we do that by override public MA, public void, was it void? Public, basically, just copy this. Copy that, do that, then provide an implementation. Then we have this one in interface B. So another override for that. And now in this case, there's an error here because we are returning a double. In this previous method, there was no error because we are returning nothing. So we don't have to do any specific thing in the body of the method. But in this specific body of the method, we are missing a return statement. So we have to return a double somehow. So for now, we can just return 0.0 to make the error go away. But in the exam, of course, you must know exactly what you should return. That's why you should start off by, you can either leave a space for it, or you can thoroughly read through the question and determine what you're supposed to return. But you're going to see what you are going to be returning in a few. So the question goes on to say the main method of class C should make a call to methods MA, MB, and MD. MD was the default one, as well as using the values of K in each of the interfaces. So when we implement interfaces like this, we are also inheriting these values here, these ones. Sort of, not exactly inheriting, but we are gaining access to these values, to these public, static, and final values, these constants here, basically, in A and B, these ones. It's not inheriting, it's just you're gaining access by implementing A and B. So the question is saying we should get a main method for C and make calls. So basically execute the code in MA, MB, and MD. And also use the constants in each of the interfaces. So that is 10 marks. Feel free to provide implementation of the interfaces the way you want. So this is where your creativity must come into play. You must find out ways of utilizing all those resources you're given. So let's create a main method in our class C. And I'm going to call the first method in interface A. Let's use obj1. Kind of lame. let's use A1 for interface A. So yes, equals new C. And then A1 is going to call the methods. Okay, since we only need one object, let's use a video. We're going to call MA. This MA takes a string value, so should it be Johnny. Johnny. And then we have to call MB as well. MB takes an integer and returns a double. So MB will be 2. Then we also have to call the default method, MB. So now this default method, which was defined in interface B, this one should print out I am a student. So before we go any further, let's just run our code, see if we're on the right track. So we should get nothing printed out here. We should get 0.0 and I am a student. Oh yeah, return. So we don't get anything because we are just returning, you're not printing it out. So we are only getting this printout from the default method, this one, I am a student. So could this be enough? Maybe it could, but just, oh no, not yet, because we have to utilize the constants as well. So let's try to make sense of this code. So let's return, let's print out, print positive value as x, and then we are going to return x. So if we pass in 2, it will print out past value 2 and return 2.0 because we are returning a double. So it will basically convert the int into a double. That's for that method. And MA, what should we do with this one? Let's print out my value is value. And we should also want to utilize the constants. So the constants in A, the constant in A was 1.5 and the one in B was 2.5. Okay, so I'm going to just use the methods to utilize the constants. So I'm going to say my constant is, so basically they're just testing to see how you can access these constants in these interfaces. So to access the constant, you're going to have to use the interface name and then the constant using the dot modifier. Modifier, accessor, yes. So you have the interface, the constant in interface A, which is K, and then the constant in interface B will be my constant in. So basically, how can you access constants is what is being examined here. Okay, like that. You access the constants in interfaces by using the interface name and then the dot modifier. So what do we get if we run this? If we run this, we shall create a new object called obj. And then when this method runs, it will pass Johnny here. So my value is Johnny, and then it will print the constant. Then this method will run MB, the first value will be 2, and my constant will be 2.5, and then the return value is ignored for now. We don't really need to do anything with it. And then MD will print I am a student. But if we run this, so our output is, my value is Johnny, because Johnny is being passed here as the value. My constant is 1.5. You can confirm that by going to the constant in interface A, 1.5. The passed value for the method here is 2. We are passing 2. Passed value is 2. My constant is 2.5. Can confirm that by going to the constant in interface B, which is 2.5. Then we are returning x as 2.0, but we're not doing anything with it. Then MD is the default method that prints I am a student, as defined in the interface B. I am a student. And that is the solution for question 3 on interfaces.